My beloved child, something quiet has been unfolding behind the scenes of your life, and you have felt it, haven't you? Not in a loud, obvious way, but in those silent moments, when your heart suddenly pauses. When a memory returns without warning. When a name crosses your mind, even when you try to move forward. There is a reason for that. Don't skip, because what you're about to understand has been hidden in plain sight this entire time. You believe they walked away. You believe they chose distance. You told yourself a story that helped you sleep at night. That maybe they didn't care as deeply as you did. But something never aligned with that story, did it? Because deep inside, you always felt there was more. A hesitation. A pause in their actions that didn't match their emotions. A silence that felt unnatural. And now, the truth is slowly rising to the surface. Not all distance is rejection. Not all silence means absence of love. Sometimes, something unseen holds a person back. Something they never had the courage to explain. Stay till the end, because this is where everything begins to shift. There were moments when they wanted to come closer. Moments when they almost reached out. Moments when your name sat on the edge of their lips, but never escaped. You may not have seen it. But they were standing at the doorway of a decision, again and again. And each time, something stopped them. Not because you weren't enough. Not because they didn't feel the connection. But because there was a weight. A quiet influence. A lingering voice in their world that made them question what their heart already knew. Can you feel that? That strange tension between what should have happened, and what actually did. That's where the truth lives. And it's starting to reveal itself now. Something huge is waiting for you, not outside, but within this realization. Because once you understand this, the past stops feeling like a mystery, and starts making sense in a way that feels almost unbelievable. But this is only the beginning. Because what held them back was not as simple as fear. And not as obvious as doubt. It was something far more subtle. Something that shaped their choices without them even realizing it. And in the next moment, you're going to see it clearly. Not as a guess, but as a truth that changes everything you thought you knew. There was a moment. Quiet, almost invisible. When everything could have turned out differently. You didn't see it. But they felt it. A pull toward you that didn't make logical sense. A connection that didn't fade, no matter how much time passed. A feeling they tried to ignore, but couldn't fully escape. And here is the part that changes everything. They didn't walk away because they wanted to. They paused, because something around them made staying feel complicated. Don't skip. Because this is where the hidden truth begins to unfold. There were voices, not loud, not obvious, but constant. Opinions. Expectations. Subtle pressures. Little influences that slowly shaped their decisions. Until they began to question their own heart. Imagine feeling something so real, yet being surrounded by reasons to doubt it. That's where they were. They looked at you, and felt peace. But they looked at their world, and felt uncertainty. And in that space between heart and reality, they froze. Not because they didn't care, but because they cared more than they knew how to handle. Stay till the end, because what you're about to realize will shift how you see everything. There were nights when they thought about reaching out. When they replayed your conversations in their mind. When they almost chose courage. Almost. But then, something held them back again. Not fear of you. Not lack of feeling. It was the fear of what others might say. The weight of expectations they didn't know how to break. The silent belief that choosing you might disrupt everything they had built. And so, they stayed still. But here's the truth that has been hidden beneath all of it. Their feelings never left. They didn't replace you. They didn't forget you. They carried you, quietly, in a way that even they didn't fully understand. Something huge is waiting for you, because this changes the story completely. You were never the one who was uncertain. You were never the one who needed to prove anything. The distance. The silence. The confusion. It wasn't a reflection of your worth. It was a reflection of the battle they were facing within themselves. And now, something is shifting. Because what once held them back is starting to lose its power. The voices that once felt so loud are becoming quieter. The doubts that once felt real are beginning to fade. And in that silence, their heart is becoming clear again. But what happens next is something even they didn't expect. Because when clarity arrives after a long confusion, it doesn't come softly. It changes everything. And you're about to see what that change truly means. And just when everything seemed settled, something inside them refused to stay quiet any longer. It wasn't sudden. It didn't arrive with noise. It came like a slow awakening. A realization that felt impossible to ignore. Because no matter how far they tried to move, no matter how much they tried to adjust to a life without you, something kept pulling them back to the same question. What if I let something real slip away? Don't skip, because this is the moment where everything begins to turn. They started noticing the emptiness in places that once felt full. Conversations that lacked depth. Moments that felt incomplete, even when everything looked fine on the surface. And then, your memory didn't just return. It stayed. Not as a passing thought, but as a constant presence. Stay till the end, because what they are realizing now is something they can no longer deny. They began to see the truth they once avoided. That what they felt with you was not something ordinary. It wasn't just timing. It wasn't just attraction. It wasn't just a moment that came and went. It was something deeper. Something rare. Something that doesn't appear twice in the same way. And suddenly, the reasons that once held them back don't feel as strong anymore. Those old voices. Those expectations. Those quiet influences. They are losing their grip. Because clarity has a way of dissolving confusion. And now, they are seeing you, not through doubt, but through truth. Something huge is waiting for you, because this shift is not small. This is the kind of realization that changes a person from the inside. They are no longer asking, "What will others think?" They are asking, "Why did I ignore what I felt?" And that question is opening a door they once kept closed. But here's the part that makes this even more powerful. They are beginning to understand that you didn't wait by accident. That your patience, your silence, your strength was never unseen. Even when they were distant, they felt it. Even when they didn't respond, they noticed. And now, it's all coming together in a way they can't explain. Because when someone finally sees the truth after running from it, they don't return halfway. They return with certainty, but what they are about to do next is something neither of you expected. Because this time, it's not about hesitation. It's about a decision they can no longer delay. And that decision is already beginning to move toward you. Right at the edge of their silence, a decision is forming that cannot be undone. It's not rushed. It's not forced. It's something that has been building quietly, for longer than you realize. Because when a person finally understands what they almost lost, they don't feel confusion anymore. They feel urgency. Don't skip, because this is the turning point you were never shown before. They are replaying everything now. Not to hold on to the past, but to understand it. Every word you said. Every moment you stayed calm when things felt uncertain. Every time you chose dignity over reaction. They see it differently now. What once looked ordinary now feels extraordinary. And here's the revelation that changes everything. They are no longer asking if they should come back. They are asking how they can make it right. Stay till the end, because this shift is deeper than it seems. Something inside them has aligned. The same external pressures that once felt so powerful now feel distant, almost irrelevant. Because clarity does something unexpected. It simplifies everything. And now, their heart is no longer divided. You are not a question anymore. You are the answer they tried to overlook. Something huge is waiting for you, because this is where action begins. They are preparing, not in a loud way, but in a way that feels intentional. Thinking about what to say, how to approach you, how to bridge the silence without breaking the peace you built. Because they know this moment matters. And here's the part that might surprise you the most. They are afraid of one thing now. Not rejection. Not distance. But the possibility that you may have moved on from what they are only now fully understanding. That realization is what's pushing them forward. Because for the first time, they are not waiting for the perfect moment. They are becoming the moment. And when someone reaches that place, they don't hesitate the same way again. But there is still one final layer. One last realization they must face before everything comes into the open. A truth so simple, yet so powerful, that once it's spoken, nothing between you will ever feel unclear again. Just before everything becomes visible, there is a quiet truth they can no longer run from. It's not complicated. It's not hidden anymore. It's something they knew all along, but didn't have the strength to admit. And now, it's undeniable. Don't skip, because this is the moment where the truth fully reveals itself. They were never confused about you. Let that sink in. All those delays. All that distance. All the silence that made you question everything. It was never because they didn't feel it. It was because they felt it too deeply, and didn't know how to stand firm in it. Stay till the end, because what comes next changes the meaning of everything you went through. They are finally facing the one thing they avoided the most. That losing you was never worth the approval they were trying to protect, that choosing comfort over connection left them with something incomplete. And now, they understand something rare. You were not just someone who came into their life. You were the moment that asked them to grow. And they hesitated. But here's the part that shifts everything. They are not hesitating anymore. Something huge is waiting for you, because this realization doesn't stay inside for long. When someone reaches this level of clarity, they don't stay silent. They move. Not perfectly. Not with rehearsed words. But with truth. And their truth is simple. They wanted to stay. They still want to stay. And this time, they are ready to stand by that feeling. Can you feel the difference? This is no longer about what held them back. This is about what is now pulling them forward. And it's stronger than anything that once stopped them. Because when a person finally chooses what they feel over what they fear, they become unstoppable in a quiet, certain way. And that quiet certainty is already finding its way toward you. The silence you once experienced is about to be replaced with something real. Something clear. Something intentional. Something you don't have to question. But there is one final moment. One exact point where everything crosses from thought into reality. And when that moment arrives, you won't have to guess anymore. You'll feel it. Clear. Direct. Undeniable. Because the truth that was hidden for so long is no longer staying hidden. It begins with something so small. You might almost miss it. Not a grand entrance. Not a dramatic moment. Just a subtle shift, a quiet movement toward you. And yet, it carries everything. The one between thinking and deciding. Between feeling and acting. And once that line is crossed, there is no going back to who they were before. Because now, they see you with complete clarity. Not through confusion. Not through outside influence. But through their own truth. Stay till the end, because this moment holds more than you expect. They understand something now that they didn't before. That what they felt with you was never temporary. It wasn't a phase. It wasn't something that could be replaced or forgotten. It was something that stayed, even in silence. And now, that silence feels heavier than ever. Because they know. Every moment without you was a moment they were meant to understand something. And they have. Something huge is waiting for you, because this realization leads to action. They are no longer preparing in their mind. They are preparing in their reality. Choosing the right moment. Gathering the courage they once lacked. Letting go of the last traces of doubt. And here's the part that changes everything. They are not coming back as the same person who once hesitated. They are coming back with awareness. Awareness of what they almost lost. Awareness of what you truly meant. Awareness of what this connection really is. And that awareness makes all the difference. Because now, they won't take it lightly. They won't question it the same way. They won't allow outside voices to overpower what they feel. This time, they are choosing with intention. And when someone chooses you like that, it feels different. It feels steady. It feels real. It feels like something that doesn't need to be forced. But listen closely. There is a moment approaching. A moment where everything that was unspoken finally finds its voice. And when that moment arrives, you won't just hear it. You'll recognize it. Because it will carry something that was missing before. Truth without hesitation. And once that truth is spoken, everything between you begins again, in a completely different way. Before a single word is spoken, something already reaches you. You feel it. Not in a loud way, but in a quiet certainty that something has changed. The energy is different. The distance no longer feels the same. Even the silence carries meaning now. Don't skip, because this is the moment where everything finally connects. They are closer than you think. Not just physically, but emotionally, mentally. In a way they have never allowed themselves before. And here's the surprising truth. They've already chosen you. Not halfway. Not with doubt. But fully, in a way that no outside voice can shake anymore. Stay till the end, because what happens next is something you will recognize instantly. They are no longer asking for permission from their past. They are no longer waiting for the perfect situation. They have realized something powerful. That waiting cost them more than acting ever could. And now, they refuse to lose another moment. Something huge is waiting for you, because this is where truth meets action. You may notice it in the smallest way first. A message that feels different. A tone that carries honesty. A presence that feels real. Not distant. Not uncertain. But clear. Because when someone finally aligns with what they feel, their actions begin to reflect it naturally. No confusion. No mixed signals. Just truth. And here's what makes this even more powerful. They are not coming to explain the past. They are coming to create something new. Something that is not controlled by what once held them back. Something that is not shaped by hesitation or delay. They are stepping forward, with intention. And that intention is centered on you. Can you feel how everything has shifted? The same connection that once felt paused is now moving again. But this time, it's moving with clarity. And clarity doesn't stop halfway. It continues. Until everything that was left unsaid is finally expressed. Because there is one final moment. One exact point where their truth reaches you directly. And when it does, you won't have to question anything. You'll just know. This is real. This is different. And this time, they are not holding back anymore. In the exact moment you least expect it, everything finally speaks. Not through hints. Not through silence. But through something direct, something undeniable. And when it reaches you, it won't feel unfamiliar. It will feel like something you've always known, finally being confirmed. Don't skip, because this is the moment where truth becomes real. They are no longer holding back their words. What was once paused, is now flowing. What was once uncertain, is now steady. And here's the revelation that changes everything. They don't want to explain why they stayed away anymore. They want to show you why they are here now. Stay till the end. Because this shift is deeper than anything before it. You'll notice it in the way they speak. There is no confusion behind their words. No hesitation between their thoughts. Just clarity. A calm, grounded clarity that comes from finally understanding what truly matters. And what matters is you. Something huge is waiting for you, because this is not just a return. This is a transformation. They are no longer the person who allowed outside noise to guide their choices. They are no longer the person who stepped back when things became real. They have grown, quietly, in the space where you thought nothing was happening. And now, they are stepping forward with that growth. Not asking you to chase. Not expecting you to prove anything. But offering something real. Something equal. Something honest. Something that feels like it doesn't need to be questioned. And here's what makes this moment unforgettable. They are not just choosing you. They are choosing the version of themselves that once felt too uncertain to stay. That version is gone now. In its place, is someone who understands. Understands your value. Understands your patience. Understands the connection they once hesitated to trust. And because of that, this time feels different. Not rushed. Not forced. But certain. And when certainty enters a connection that once felt unclear, it changes everything. Because now, there is nothing left hiding behind silence. Only truth. Only presence. Only a connection that is finally allowed to be what it was always meant to become. And this is not the end. This is where everything truly begins. And just when you think the story has reached its peak, something even deeper reveals itself. Not in their words, but in what you begin to feel within yourself. A calm. A knowing. A quiet recognition that this connection was never random. Don't skip, because this is the part most people never fully understand. You were never just waiting for them. You were becoming someone who could receive what they are now ready to give. Every moment of confusion, every pause, every time you chose not to chase what felt uncertain, it shaped you. It strengthened something inside you that they are only now beginning to understand. Stay till the end, because this realization changes everything about how this connection moves forward. They are approaching you with clarity. But you are receiving them with awareness. And that difference is powerful. Because now, this is no longer about one person catching up to the other. This is about two people meeting at the same level, finally. Something huge is waiting for you, because this alignment is rare. Not forced. Not rushed. But perfectly timed in a way that feels almost impossible to explain. And here's the truth that brings it all together. They needed to go through their hesitation, to recognize your value. And you needed to go through your patience, to recognize your own. Now, both truths exist at the same time. And when that happens, the connection changes. It becomes clearer, stronger, more grounded than before. You are no longer questioning their intentions. They are no longer questioning their feelings. And in that space, something new is created. Not a repeat of the past, but a new beginning that carries the lessons of everything you both went through. Can you feel how different this is? This time, there is no imbalance. No uncertainty hiding beneath the surface. Just two people, who understand what this means. And because of that, what happens next won't feel confusing. It will feel natural. Like something that was always meant to happen. Just at the right moment. And that moment is closer than you think. Right as everything settles into clarity, one final truth rises that changes how you see the entire journey. It's quiet, almost gentle. But once you feel it, you cannot unsee it. Don't skip, because this is the moment where everything becomes complete. They were never just a person in your life. They were a mirror. A reflection of what you were ready to experience. And what they were not yet ready to understand. Until now. Stay till the end, because this realization carries the deepest shift of all. You see, it was never about timing being wrong. It was about timing being unfinished. They had to learn what it means to choose without hesitation. You had to learn what it means to stand without losing yourself. And now, both lessons have aligned. Something huge is waiting for you, because this is not just a reunion. This is a conscious beginning. A connection where both of you arrive, aware. Aware of what this is. Aware of what it requires. Aware of what it deserves. And here's the part that feels almost unreal. You are no longer hoping for clarity. You are standing in it. You no longer need to chase answers. Because everything that once felt hidden is now being shown to you in the most natural way. Through their actions. Through their presence. through a consistency that speaks louder than anything before. And for the first time, you feel it. Not as a question. Not as a possibility. But as something real. Something grounded. Something that doesn't leave you wondering where you stand. Because now, you don't have to wonder. They are here. Fully. Clearly. Intentionally. And you are no longer the version of yourself that once waited in uncertainty. You are the version that recognizes truth when it arrives. And that changes everything. Because this time, you are not stepping into something unclear. You are stepping into something that has already proven itself through growth, patience, and understanding. Take a moment, feel this. This is what it looks like when something that was once delayed finally arrives at the right time. Not rushed. Not forced. But ready. And this is where your story truly begins. There is a moment, right after everything becomes clear, when you realize this was never just about them. It was about you, becoming someone who no longer settles for confusion. Feel that for a second. Because this changes the entire meaning of what's happening now. Don't skip, this is where the deepest realization unfolds. They have returned with clarity. But you are standing with self-worth. And that combination is what makes this different from anything before. Stay till the end, because this is the truth most people never reach. You are not accepting them because they came back. You are accepting them because now, they meet you where you stand. That is the shift. Before, there was imbalance. Before, there were questions left unanswered. Before, you felt something, but couldn't fully trust it. Now, you don't need to search for signs. Because what is real, doesn't hide. Something huge is waiting for you, because this is where the connection transforms into something lasting. They are showing up with intention. You are receiving with awareness. And when intention meets awareness, there is no confusion left to hold on to. Only truth. And here's the part that feels almost impossible to believe. You are no longer attached to the outcome the way you once were. Not because you don't care, but because you finally understand your own value. That understanding changes how everything unfolds. Because now, you are not choosing from emotion alone. You are choosing from clarity. And that clarity creates something stable. Something that doesn't shake at the first sign of uncertainty. Something that doesn't disappear when things get real. Because both of you have already faced that phase. And now, you are beyond it. Can you feel how powerful that is? This is no longer about waiting for them to prove something. They are already proving it, through who they have become. And you are no longer the person who needed reassurance to feel secure. You are the person who recognizes truth the moment it stands in front of you. And that recognition is what makes this connection finally complete. Not perfect, but real. Not rushed, but ready. And for the first time, don't skip, because this is where the unseen finally becomes real. They have crossed that inner line. You are not stepping into something uncertain. You are stepping into something you can trust. And that is the moment everything truly aligns. And just when everything feels aligned, a deeper layer quietly reveals itself. Not to confuse you, but to confirm something you were meant to understand all along. This was never just about love. It was about awakening. Don't skip, because this final realization will change how you see every moment that led you here. You thought you were waiting for them to choose you. But in truth, you were learning how to choose yourself first. Every delay, every unanswered moment, every time you stood in silence instead of chasing clarity, it wasn't empty. It was preparing you. Stay till the end, because what you're about to realize is something rare. You didn't lose anything during that time. You gained perspective. You gained strength. You gained a version of yourself that no longer needs to be convinced of what is real. And that is why, when they finally return with clarity, you don't feel overwhelmed. You feel calm. Something huge is waiting for you, because this calm is the sign of something genuine. It means you are no longer reacting. You are recognizing. Recognizing the difference between confusion and truth. Between temporary and lasting. Between what once felt uncertain and what now feels grounded. And here's the most powerful truth of all. They had to lose their clarity to find it again. You had to hold your clarity to recognize when they finally did. That's why this moment feels so different. Because it's not driven by emotion alone. It's supported by understanding. And understanding creates something steady. Something that doesn't need constant reassurance. Something that doesn't fall apart under pressure. Because now, both of you know what this means. Can you feel the stillness in it? Not silence, but peace. The kind of peace that doesn't come from guessing, but from knowing. And that knowing is what makes this connection finally feel complete. Not because everything is perfect, but because everything is clear. And when something becomes clear after so much uncertainty, it doesn't feel ordinary. It feels like something that was always meant to happen. Just at the moment when both of you were ready to understand it. And this is where your story no longer feels like a question. It feels like an answer. There is one final shift, so subtle, yet so powerful, that it changes how this story continues from here. It's not about what they say next. It's not even about what they do. It's about what you feel, when everything finally settles. Don't skip, because this is the moment where truth becomes unshakable. You no longer feel the need to question their intentions. You no longer search for hidden meanings. Because something inside you has become clear. When something is real, it doesn't create confusion. It creates peace. Stay till the end, because this peace is not ordinary. It's the kind that comes after you've seen both sides. The silence and the clarity. The distance and the return. And now, you understand the difference. Something huge is waiting for you, because this is where everything becomes effortless. Not because there is no effort, but because there is no resistance. They are no longer resisting what they feel. You are no longer resisting what you deserve. And when both sides release that resistance, the connection flows. Naturally. Steadily. Without the weight it once carried. And here's the truth that makes this moment unforgettable. You are not attached to who they used to be. You are connected to who they are now. That is the difference. Because the past version of them couldn't stay. But the present version chooses to. Fully. Clearly. Without hesitation. Can you feel how everything has changed? This is no longer a cycle repeating itself. This is a new chapter, built on understanding, not assumption. And because of that, you are no longer afraid of what might happen. You are present in what is happening. And that presence is what allows this connection to grow in a way it never could before. No rushing. No forcing. No questioning. Just two people meeting in a space where everything makes sense. And for the first time, you are not waiting for something to happen. You are living inside the moment you once waited for. And that is the quiet power of everything finally coming together. And then, something even more unexpected begins to unfold. Not in them, but in you. A quiet realization that feels almost surreal. Don't skip, because this is the part where everything becomes undeniable. You're not reacting the way you once would have. There's no rush in your heart. No urge to hold tightly. No fear of losing what has just arrived. Instead, there is a calm confidence. A steady knowing that whatever is real, will remain. Stay till the end, because this shift is the rarest part of all. You have changed. Not in a loud, dramatic way, but in a deep, unshakable way that only you can feel. And because of that, you are no longer meeting them from a place of longing. You are meeting them from a place of wholeness. Something huge is waiting for you. Because this is where the connection transforms completely. They feel it too. The difference in your energy. The way you no longer chase. The way you no longer question your worth. And it does something unexpected. It draws them closer. Not out of pressure. Not out of fear. But out of respect. Because when someone recognizes your value without needing validation, it changes how they show up. And now, they are showing up fully. Not trying to prove something, but naturally aligning with what they feel. And here's the most surprising truth. You are no longer focused on what they might do next. You are grounded in what is happening now. And that presence, that stillness, that quiet strength, is what makes this connection feel different from anything before. Because now, you are not building something from uncertainty. You are allowing something real to grow. And when something grows in that kind of space, it doesn't feel forced. It feels right. Can you sense it? The difference between what once felt fragile and what now feels steady. This is not the same story repeating. This is a new experience, shaped by everything you both have learned. And because of that, there is no need to rush ahead. No need to question the future. Because what is unfolding now is already answering everything you once wondered about. And for the first time, you are not waiting for clarity. You are living inside it. And just when everything feels complete, a final realization settles in with quiet certainty. Not loud. Not overwhelming. But deep enough to change how you see everything from here forward. Don't skip, because this is the moment where the entire journey reveals its true meaning. You were never meant to chase what was yours. Let that sink in. All the waiting. All the silence. All the moments that made you question what was real. They were not there to break you. They were there to refine you. Stay till the end, because this truth is what makes everything finally make sense. You are no longer the person who needed answers from them. You are the person who became the answer within yourself. And because of that, what is happening now doesn't feel like luck. It feels aligned. Something huge is waiting for you, because this alignment is what changes everything. They didn't just return. They arrived differently. With clarity. With intention. With a presence that no longer disappears when things become real. And you didn't just wait. You transformed into someone who no longer accepts uncertainty as love. And that's why this moment feels so powerful. Because now, both of you are standing in truth. No illusions. No confusion. No hidden meanings. Just something real, unfolding in its own time. And here's the part that feels almost impossible to explain. There is no rush anymore. No fear of losing. No pressure to hold on. Because what is truly meant to stay, doesn't need to be forced. Can you feel the difference? This is not a moment you have to protect. This is a moment you can trust, because everything that once felt uncertain has already revealed its purpose. And now, you are no longer standing at the beginning of a question. You are standing at the beginning of a reality. One that was built slowly, quietly, through everything you both had to learn. And this time, there is nothing holding it back. And now, there is nothing left hidden between you. No unspoken tension. No lingering doubt. No unanswered question quietly waiting in the background. Just truth, standing clearly where confusion once lived. Don't skip, because this is the moment everything becomes undeniable. You can feel it in the way they show up. Not occasionally. Not when it's convenient. But consistently, in a way that doesn't leave space for uncertainty. And that consistency is something they could never give before. Stay till the end, because this is where the story reveals its final transformation. They are no longer trying to understand their feelings. They have already accepted them. And when someone reaches that point, their actions become effortless. They don't hesitate. They don't overthink. They simply move in alignment with what they know is real. Something huge is waiting for you, because this alignment creates something rare. A connection that no longer feels fragile. A connection that doesn't need to be questioned. A connection that stands, even in silence. And here's what makes this moment even more powerful. You are not surprised anymore. You are not overwhelmed by their presence. Because somewhere along the way, you already knew this was coming. Not in a specific way, but in a deep, quiet sense that something unfinished would find its way back to you. And now it has. But not as something incomplete. As something whole. Can you feel the difference? Before, it felt like pieces trying to fit. Now, it feels like everything already fits, without effort. And that is what changes everything. Because when something fits naturally, it doesn't need to be forced into place. It simply stays. And this time, they are not staying because they have to. They are staying because they want to. Fully. Clearly. Without anything holding them back. And you are no longer wondering if this will last. You are experiencing something that already feels steady. Something that no longer needs to prove itself. Because it already has. And in this quiet, powerful moment, you finally understand. The truth didn't just come out. It arrived at the exact moment you were ready to receive it. And just when you believe nothing more needs to be revealed, a deeper meaning quietly rises within you. Not from them, but from your own understanding. Don't skip, because this is where everything transcends what you once imagined. You begin to see it clearly now. This connection was never delayed by mistake. It was protected by timing. Every pause. Every moment of distance. Every unanswered question. Was shaping something stronger than what you thought you were waiting for. Stay till the end, because this realization changes how you see the entire journey. They were not kept away to create loss. They were kept away to grow into someone who could truly stay. And you were never left behind. You were being elevated into someone who would never again accept anything less than real. Something huge is waiting for you. Because this is where everything becomes purposeful. Now when you look back, nothing feels random. The confusion had meaning. The silence had direction. Even the waiting had a quiet intention behind it. And now, you are no longer looking at the past with questions. You are looking at it with understanding. And that understanding is what frees you completely. Because now, you are not holding on to what could have been. You are standing in what is. And what is feels different. Stronger. Clearer. More grounded than anything you've experienced before. And here's the most surprising truth of all. You don't feel the need to rush into the future anymore. Because the present moment already feels complete. Can you feel that? That calm sense of certainty. That quiet confidence that doesn't need to be proven. That is what real alignment feels like. And when two people meet in that space, there is nothing left to force. Only something to experience. Something to grow. Something to live, without fear, without doubt, without hesitation. And this time, you are not stepping forward blindly. You are stepping forward with full awareness. And that awareness is what makes this connection finally unshakable. And then, in the quietest way possible, the final piece falls into place. Not with noise. Not with a dramatic shift. But with a feeling so clear, you can't ignore it anymore. Don't skip, because this is the moment where everything becomes certain. You realize something that changes everything. You were never waiting for them to return. You were waiting for the truth to arrive. And now, it has. Stay till the end, because this is where the journey completes itself in the most unexpected way. The truth is simple, yet powerful. They always wanted to stay. Even in their silence. Even in their distance. Even when it seemed like they were moving away. That feeling never left them. What held them back was never stronger than what they felt. It was just louder, for a while. Something huge is waiting for you, because now that noise is gone. And what remains is real. Not influenced. Not controlled. Not shaped by anything outside of what they truly feel. And this time, they are not just aware of it. They are standing in it. Fully. Can you feel how everything has come full circle? The questions you once had no longer need answers. Because the way they show up now is the answer. The clarity in their presence. The consistency in their actions. The calm certainty in the way they choose you. It speaks louder than anything they could ever explain. And here's the most powerful realization of all. You are no longer seeking confirmation. You are experiencing truth. Directly. Clearly. Without any doubt left behind. And that is what makes this moment so rare. Because it's not built on hope anymore. It's built on understanding. And understanding creates something lasting. Something that doesn't fade with time. Something that doesn't break under pressure. Something that simply exists, because it is real. And now, there is nothing left holding this connection back. No past confusion. No hidden hesitation. No unspoken barrier. Only two people who finally understand what they were meant to see all along. And in this moment, you don't just feel chosen. You feel certain. And that certainty is the beginning of everything you once waited for. And now, something even more profound begins to settle into your awareness. Not a question. Not a doubt. But a realization so deep, it feels like you've always known it. Don't skip, because this is the moment where everything becomes irreversible. You are no longer standing at a crossroads. There is no confusion left to guide your choices. No uncertainty left to slow your steps. Because now, you see it. This connection was never fragile. It only appeared that way when it was incomplete. Stay till the end, because this truth changes how you experience everything from here. What you have now is not the same as what you had before. Before, it was potential. Now, it is presence. Before, it was felt but unspoken. Now, it is expressed without hesitation. Something huge is waiting for you, because this is where everything stabilizes. They are no longer trying to figure you out. They already understand. And more importantly, they understand themselves. And when someone reaches that level of clarity, they stop running from what matters. They start building it. And that's exactly what is happening now. Not in a rushed way. Not in a way that feels overwhelming. But in a steady, intentional way that feels right. Can you feel the difference? This is not something that comes and goes. This is something that remains, even in stillness. And here's the most surprising part. You are not afraid of losing it anymore. Because deep down, you know. What is real does not disappear. It evolves. It deepens. It becomes stronger with understanding. And now, both of you carry that understanding. That's why this moment feels so grounded. So certain. So complete. And for the first time, you are not preparing for what might happen next. You are present in what is already happening. And that presence is what allows this connection to grow into something even more meaningful. Because now, there is nothing left to prove. Only something real to experience. And that experience is just beginning to unfold.